Hi, I'm here with Walter today to talk about our favorite mechanism in Magic Maze, a cooperative game that I played for the first time a couple times over on New Year's Eve. I had a lot of fun with it. Magic Maze is a game where you are cooperatively trying to make your way out of a mall, which is a little weird theme, but it somehow works in this game based on the layout of the game. You're running around with these different characters, grabbing stuff, and trying to make your way out of the mall. Now, whenever I play a cooperative game, I kind of look for two things. I look for what does this game do to ensure that we actually have to cooperate to do well in this game. That we couldn't just be playing this solo. Not that there's anything wrong with solo, but that I want that sense of cooperation, collaboration in a cooperative game. And I also try to look for what does this game do to prevent quarterbacking, to prevent a player from just telling everyone what to do. And this game achieves those through two really interesting twists, in my opinion. The first is that every player has one direction that they can move any meeple on the board. So there's like a defined north-south orientation of the board, and you have a tile in front of you that also has that orientation, and it has an arrow pointing in one direction. So like I had an arrow that said that I could only move tokens to the right. So that means that that's my job. Like I'm the only one at the table who can move the tokens to the right. So we're moving across this grid, this mall that's a huge layout of all these different paths and quarters that you have to go through. And so even though one player might be able to move a token straight, at some point we're going to have to move it to the right. And that happens all the time. All the tokens are going to have to move to the right at some point. So that's my job. I have a job, and the other players can't do it without me. And this is the collaboration element ties in here, because it's not just mechanical that every player has this thing that they're assigned to do. The second part of it is that the game requires you to play in silence for the majority of the game, which is really, really interesting. Because sometimes when games have mechanisms like this where they say like, oh, you just can't talk, or you can't reveal this information to other players, it feels a little forced. But in this game, they did something really, really clever where they added a big token. I don't have it in front of me because I don't have the game, but they added a big token in the game that is your way of communicating with other players. So if you need the player across the table, the guy who can move things left, if you need him to move something left and he's not seeing something that you're seeing, you can't quarterback. You can't tell him, hey Jake, you need to move the red token 2 sections to the left. You can't do that. Instead, the only way you can communicate is to take that big token, that big red token, and put it in front of him, or smash it down on the table multiple times in front of him to get his attention. You can't tell him what to do. You can just tell him that there is something that he needs to do. So this, combined with every player having their own job and playing mostly in silence, addresses both of those needs. It makes sure that there is collaboration. You are relying on the other players, but at the same time, you can't tell them directly what to do. You're relying on indirect communication to convey what you need to do. Both of those combined work out really, really well in Magic Maze. I had a lot of fun with it, and I look forward to playing it again. If you have a game, a cooperative game, I love to talk about these elements of cooperative games. So if you have an element of cooperative game that requires collaboration or prevents quarterbacking, or both in the same game, I'd love to hear about that. Or if you have a favorite mechanism in Magic Maze, I'd love to hear about that as well. Thanks.